to the business. Means back to the trenches. You ain't even got a mention. I got vision. I got vision. Means back to the business. Means back to the trenches. You ain't even got a mention. I got vision. I got vision. I got vision. What? I got vision. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Friday Night Live, the Sunday series. We will be coming to you on every Sunday here throughout the month of March to bring you the most up-to-date NCAA coverage that we have for you. We are coming to you from the Self-Made Sound Studios, as always, brought to you by Hybrid Promotions. I am joined by JT and Young Bakes tonight. Juice will be with us here shortly. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Pretty good.
Yeah, so I know you guys are kind of waiting to hear what happened at the game. I've been teasing about here for the last 10, 15 minutes as Iowa State did pull out a senior day victory, beating Arizona State pretty handily, 86 to 65. It was a great atmosphere, great crowd. It was loud. The Pops were there. The crowd was into it throughout the game. We got to see a little vintage Danny Hurley there with some antics there, forcing a technical foul. My whole grievance is, so we got there. I wanted to get there early enough so we could catch the senior day introductions. That was the whole reason I got these tickets, so we could get down there and check out that moment, kind of honor Taman Lipsey in his final home game at Hilton there as a Cyclone. We got there about 12:30 or so. I go to pull my tickets up on my phone, and suddenly I can't access where I had bought my tickets from. So we're looking. I have the receipt for the tickets that I had purchased through StubHub that ended up pushing you through the athletic website, which then redirects you back to Ticketmaster. Well, so then I couldn't get into my Ticketmaster account, so they took us down to the actual ticket office in Hilton Coliseum there, and they had informed me that the tickets that I had bought had been bought and sold 3 other times since I had bought them back at the beginning of, I believe that was the beginning of February when I bought those tickets. So, and they had already been scanned in. So we're sitting down there as the game is basically tipping off at this point. We missed the entire senior day introduction, like the whole ceremony and all that. And then on top of that, I had to spend another $180 right there on the spot to get 2 more tickets, just to be able to get into the building. So that was kind of a really rough start to the game. But other than that, it was a great game to be at.
Yeah. So I guess how was kind of the, not to skip the whole game, but I think the cool part that I didn't really get to see, or didn't have my undivided attention because I was watching the Drake game. But how was the end with the send off and things like that?
It was great. So they subbed out. They did a quick 3-man sub for I can't remember who was on the court. I think it was Buchanan, Momchilovich, and maybe Torrey, and they subbed in the 3 guys that don't really play that much. So Mulder, Kelderman, and Heisey. I think they brought Heisey out with that group of 3, and then they subbed out Momchilovich, or they subbed Momchilovich back in for Jefferson, brought him out, and then they subbed out someone for Heisey. So Heisey went in. I think he played like 3 seconds and then got subbed back out. Then they subbed out Jefferson individually, and then they subbed out Lipsey as well for the final sub out, just kind of one by one there.
And what was that ovation like when Lipsey came out of the game?
Well, I mean, they had the student section in the crowd had been chanting his name the whole game. So, I mean, it was really just kind of like an eruption of just like the run he had there in the 24-0 run in the second half, just the steals. I think he had a dunk there at one point. Just, the kind of classic Taman plays that you've come to know and expect from him. And I believe he finished the game with 6 steals. So just the appreciation from the crowd, it really shows. And it it just kind of hopefully it shows these new guys that, because there were a couple recruits that were in the building, so hopefully it shows them that this is kind of a place that appreciates guys that stay, and hopefully Bateman and Tourney and Plata and those guys feel the same way about it, because I don't think it could have been any better.
Yeah, I think it was cool because wasn't one of Lipsy's kind of last plays like one of those pick six steals
Yep.
to a layup, right? I thought that was kind of very emblematic of kind of what he's brought to the table. But yeah, I guess it's just really cool these days, just in general, just to see a guy who's been here all 4 years. Kind of with all the turnover at Drake, me and some friends were kind of talking about when are we going to see another 4-year player, and I'm sure pretty much any school can kind of say that.
Right.
We're going to see a full 4-year player. I don't know who the next candidate would be for Iowa State. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head because I think Momcilovic, is this his second or third year?
This is his third year, so he's a junior. So if he does come back, it would essentially kind of be like the what was that, 13, 14, 15, that group of Cyclones that they just kind of trickled out over the last couple years of their career each. They're kind of stretching out that window for them essentially.
Yeah. So it would be Momcilovic and technically Kelderman is a junior. So, but after those two guys, it'll be interesting to see if there's anybody else that sticks around. Because there's no sophomores, there's no true sophomores in the class, and then it's just the freshmen. So it'd be nice to see a couple of those guys stay throughout, but with the environment like it is, you just never know when you're going to get that kind of thing again.
Yeah, no, and it's funny. They go down 45-41, and you really never felt like really bad energy. It did get kind of quiet there for a minute as they were kind of going on that run, but you never really felt too crazy about what your position was. And they started off that second half, and you just keep looking up at the scoreboard, and the Arizona's number doesn't change, or Arizona State, excuse me, their number doesn't change for a good solid 10 minutes there. And Iowa State racked on the points, and the difference being in the arena and not being at home is you can't see, there isn't like a little clock ticker down at the bottom. So unless you remember exactly what score they had when it was, you don't realize how big those runs get. I knew it was quite a good sized run, but I didn't know until after the game that it got all the way up to 24 to nothing. And I mean, it was loud there for a good long stretch, and Arizona State actually burned all their timeouts, I believe, before the 8-minute mark, just trying to stop that bleeding.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys go out there and get a win on senior day. You guys played hard, played great transition, old defense. Thought you guys did a lot of cool things. And sorry about the ticket mishap, but don't you get refunded that money at least?
I don't know. The university told me there's not much they could do about it on their end, but the fact that I had to stand there for 30 minutes and kind of miss that whole ordeal, if it wasn't senior day, I probably wouldn't have cared too much, but just for that, like, minor inconvenience, like, that's like a moment you can't really get back in time. But they said I got to go through StubHub, but I'm probably going to file something with my bank as well. So
most definitely.
Yeah, that's usually what I tell people at the ticket office when they screw something up with their tickets, to just file a charge with their card or something like that, or file
he must found a
whatever
glitch.
dispute.
He must found a glitch and was just like pushing them off as often as he could.
Well, and then that was kind of my other thing, was the university should have at least something in place, or Ticketmaster should have something in place to be able to prevent fraud like that, because I can't imagine I was the only person that showed up and didn't have those seats that they thought they had.
Yeah, it's highly unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah, that can happen in this day and age with how things are shifting to digital tickets. We see it in the ticket office all the time. All these venues going to paperless tickets, and it just leads to the whole new. It solves some old problems, but it does lead to some new complications. So it was a bummer that you missed kind of those introductions there. But at least you got to see the end there, because I think that kind of seeing Taman Lipsy's last game at Hilton and kind of experiencing that ovation is kind of one of those things.
Yeah, it had to be huge. I know you've been raving about
Yeah.
it since he was a freshman.
Yeah, no, it absolutely was, and it kind of like embodied like what he meant to it, just to be able to be there. And TJ made a really good point after the game in his post game, talking about how Lipsy was the first player to commit there when all they had was a PowerPoint and a dream on what they wanted this team to look like, and he was the first building block that they built around when they had that. And to see how far they've come in the last 4 years and the trajectory that they've been put on because of that, I mean, that's monumental success for the program, just to be able to keep a guy like that. And the fact that he's from Ames, grew up a Cyclone fan. Monte Morris and Tyrese Halliburton tell stories about seeing him at camps growing up all the time as he was a kid, and just the fact that he was able to stay home. It was great. It was really special. I guess the one thing I did want to touch on here before we move on is Momcilovic with his shooting numbers on the year. We'll just patch it up for everyone. For the end of the regular season, he did finish with 51.5% from the field, 50% exactly from 314 for 228. And unfortunately, 89.7% from the free throw line. He went 61 of 68. So one free throw away from the 50-50-90. But still a fantastic regular season for him nonetheless. Can't wait to see what he's got coming up for us here, and moving on to conference tourney time here.
And it sounds like there's I had kind of assumed that he'd be out the door, but it sounds like there might be a chance that, or actually probably a pretty good chance that he's not going to go to the NBA and not test. Well, I'm sure he'll like get evaluated and stuff like that.
Yep.
But it sounds like he's going to come back for his senior year. Now, of course, the other thing when that happens is he's going to get a lot of money thrown at him.
Yep.
So it'll just be hoping that they can make a competitive offer to keep him. I know hopefully with Lipsy and Jefferson coming off the books, you have a little bit of money to work with, but obviously you're going to need to throw some money at Bateman and Tourney, especially Bateman. You probably weren't really expecting him to start popping off a little bit.
Absolutely.
So that's just kind of the nature of the game. Hopefully they're in a pretty good spot to throw some money his way, though.
Most definitely, because that elite 3-point shooting, that'll help any team. But let's hope and pray that he's back with the Cyclones for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 3 for 5 again yesterday from 3-2, and some of those threes were kind of the kickstarters there for that run. He just always seems to get open at the most the kind of really need a bucket here moments, and he's obviously not afraid of the big shot. I mean, 13 points again yesterday. So if he continues like this, I don't know how you keep him off the court going as you move in through the later rounds here of the tournament.
Yeah, and the tournament starts is that March 10th, I believe, into the 15th?
The Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, I think it starts on.
That
sounds right. Yeah, that Tuesday. If not, it's that Wednesday. I always forget how. Yeah, the Tuesday. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so here's your bracket. Iowa State falls to a 5 seed, just off of if so facto tiebreakers. That loss to Tech really kind of kills you. It puts you on the Arizona side of the bracket. I'm curious to hear what you two think. Would you consider a success for this team, knowing what they look like right now, how healthy it is or how important it is for them to be healthy going into the actual tournament, and just the fact that they do make it all the way, it'd be 4 games in 4 days.
So do you mean like success in the Big 12 tournament?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, you pretty much, as long as you win 1 game, I'm not too concerned. I mean, obviously, if they beat, I'm guessing Baylor's gonna beat Arizona State. As long as they can get by Baylor, then you basically have to probably get through Texas Tech and Arizona, and those are 2 teams that Iowa State has just lost to within the past week or 2.
Yeah.
So I guess I can't be too mad, especially since the stakes are so low. So as long as they win that first game on Wednesday, I'm not going to sweat it too much.
Bakes?
What about you, Vic?
I feel like you guys will sneak in a couple of games for sure. Depending on, is it going to be 2? Is it going to be 4? that's up for grabs. It looks like, Kansas is going to be pretty tough. Arizona is going to be pretty tough. But I think you guys will go in there and mix it up with those fellas. You guys have shown that you can play with anybody in the country. So I look forward to you guys getting a couple wins right off the bat.
Yeah, I think realistically, if you can get to a game against Arizona and play them competitively and show them that you maybe more or less deserve to be on the floor after kind of getting ran out of the gym against them, playing them last week here, that I don't really know if you want to give it your all to try and win that game, but you at least want to come out and show some fight, at least for the fans down there. And what would essentially be, if depending on how far they make it, will be Lipsy's second senior send-off, depending on how kind of things go. If it ramps up, I know both you two have been down there with me for the Big 12 championship game. So if they make it this year, I can imagine that it's going to be just like it was those 2 years that we went.
Yeah, it's going to be rowdy.
Well, I know I kind of said it before we got in here. We'll get into it in a second. We'll kind of touch on Nebraska. I know, Vic, you want to pay some bills first before we do that. Why don't you go ahead and thank our lovely sponsors?
Most definitely. We want to give a shout out to Hybrid Promotions. You can check us out at selfmadethelabelhybrid.com for any merch needs. You can follow where we're going to be performing. You can check out our picture wall where we update and post everything that we do. There's music videos, there's podcast reviews, music podcast reviews, music videos, anything self-made, hybrid, and OTT. You can catch it at selfmadethelabelhybrid.com.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know we do got some shows coming up here in the next month or so. Glizzy Fest being one of those. I know we got a couple others as well.
Glizzy Fest.
Yes.
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 It's a festival. It's a hot dog festival, music festival,
All right.
mashup. It's pretty big here in the Midwest. Nice Enough Entertainment throws that together. Yeah, it's just a really, really good thing to get a lot of undiscovered artists on stage for the first time. Kind of in like the bigger stages here in the middle of the city. So it's really, really cool. Shout out
It's
to
for
Justin Strawstone.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Strawstone. Shout out to Nice Enough Entertainment. It's a whole weekend festival. He takes up a couple venues down there too. Kind of tries to throw some art as well in there as well. So it's not just all strictly music. It's a great time, especially if you're looking for something that's fairly family friendly and kind of affordable and economical, especially nowadays. It's a good time. You should check them out. Well, like I said, leading into this, the Huskers and the Hawkeyes played the final regular season game of the NCAA regular season. We have now shifted into tournament time. The Hawkeyes losing in overtime to the Huskers. I'm sorry, I don't know why I put them first. The Huskers winning in overtime against the Hawkeyes today in Lincoln, 84-75. What's your guys' instant gut reaction to this game as it just ended not even about an hour and a half ago?
I figured that we just needed to get our get back when they beat us early, like pretty much a couple weeks ago. It was kind of a tough loss. I mean, we didn't play our game. We obviously played their game all game, and it's just good to see us get back to business on senior day and just go ahead and grab that dub right before we enter tournament time here on the 10th. So I don't know. I saw a lot of things out there today. If it wasn't for foul trouble for Iowa, I mean, this might be an even tougher game than it was. Although we did go into overtime, we shot the ball somewhat decent from three, but Iowa also shot decent from three. And like I said, if it wasn't for all their personal fouls, getting in foul trouble, this game could have probably went in a different direction.
Yeah, I was really impressed with how Nebraska played. I know this was kind of one that we had circled when we were kind of looking forward to their schedule. We're looking for them to split the season series with Iowa after they lost that lost that first one. And I guess for most of the game, I was really impressed. They did a really good job kind of stymieing Iowa's runs, kind of keeping them at arm's length. Unfortunately, they're just right at the end. Iowa managed to pull through because really what they had really done a good job of was locking down Bennett Sturts. Anytime you can hold Bennett Sturts to 11 points, that's a pretty damn good day. Unfortunately for the Huskers, Cale Combs kind of stepped into Bennett Sturts' shoes a little bit. He is kind of showing himself to maybe kind of be the heir apparent to Bennett Sturts for next year, and he's kind of showing why. He just made that absolute clutch 3 right there at the buzzer to send the game into overtime. But so, it kind of sucked to see them sneak through there at the end, because I thought that Nebraska had done a good job kind of stymieing them and not letting them get those kill shots on the Huskers. But at the end of the day, they took care of business in overtime, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Nebraska's bench contribute just a little bit more, especially getting ready to go into tournament time.
Yeah,
we did have
that's going to be a little concerning.
We did have 4 players in double figures, which was really, really good. Jacobson, he shot pretty well from 3. He was 2 for 2. Smart shots out there. And what I really liked tonight was that Hoiberg really kind of inserted himself in the game, more on the offensive side as well as the defensive side. So I think that was important for him to have his senior day really, really step up and show what he can do out there offensively was really cool to see.
Yeah, and kind of going back to that 4-year guy for a school that didn't really have any direction. Hoiberg's another one of those. And, we've talked about it for the last couple of weeks about how these two are just kind of like the glue guys for their team. And you don't really see a lot of these guys anymore, but these are 2 guys that we've been blessed to be able to watch, for the last 4 years kind of grow into their own shoes, and just kind of being able to watch them play the way they did today. And those 2 guys were 2 huge instrumental pieces to winning both their games yesterday. So it's just nice to see them kind of go out on top, especially with, Hoiberg having Iowa State background ties and just kind of growing up with Lipsy. I don't know if, JT, if you've seen the video they released on the Cyclones there, but the tribute video for Lipsy, they had Fred Hoiberg make an appearance in there.
Oh, really?
And
I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's like a 15-minute video of thanks from a whole bunch of old players and family and all that. But Hoiberg does make an appearance and say "Go Cyclones" in the video. So,
oh, nice! I'll have to check that out.
It was old footage, you know what I'm saying? I'm just
right.
But yeah, it was nice. Kind of similar to with Lipsy and the Cyclones. It was cool that Nebraska was able to kind of pull ahead there, so that Hoiberg could kind of get his moment in front of the crowd, just like Lipsy was able to. Because yeah, it's a good call. There's a lot of similarities between those 2 guys' stories. I think there's a picture out there. Those 2 guys were on the same All Iowa Attack AAU team way back in the day, like when they were like probably 6 or 7 years old, along with the other twin. Obviously, all the Iowa State fans know about the Hoiberg twins and how they're kind of running around all over the place back. I don't try to the names. It's kind of crazy to see them all grown up.
Yeah, it's crazy to think it's those same 2 kids.
Yeah, right.
And, that wasn't all too long ago. But yeah, back to the Huskers. They kind of really needed this win tonight themselves to cement them in the 2 seed there in the Big Ten tournament. I know I got the official bracket here that has them with, first of all, what are we doing here? They have a triple bye is what we're going to call this. That's what they were calling it on the broadcast there before they left. I had it down as a double bye. I had to cross that out and put triple bye on there just because they added those last 4 teams. The years previous, those teams weren't allowed to play. They were just, once they were done, they were done. So that's where that kind of comes from. But Bakes, what are you looking for from the Huskers here as the 2 seed? What to you would constitute a successful little Big Ten tournament run here in Minneapolis this year?
I'd say 2-3 games. A win would be great. You know what I mean? I know tournament time kind of shake things up. Everybody plays you different. Teams are switching up their cadences. They're calling the same play, but it's in a different set, different name, different label. So I don't know. I just look for us to go out there and hopefully we can snatch up a couple victories. I don't think we have to win the tournament in order to do what we need to do in the big dance. I think it's important that we do go out here and win, but if we don't win the tournament, I'm not going to be bummed out. I understand it's a big boy league, and
Yeah.
if we're going to get it, we need to earn it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I don't think you really need to prove that you belong like that. You've already proved to this point in the season that you do belong. As I just pulled this seating back up here, Nebraska sitting firmly right there behind Iowa State as a 3. Do you see in any way that they can move that up to a 2, or do you think that they are pretty much solid there at the 3 line?
I think the 3 line is probably good. For the simple fact is, you go in there number 1, number 2 seed. You got target on your back. Every year, it seems like a number 1 goes down early. Very rarely do all number 1s make it all at the same time. So, I think anything can happen once you get in, but I think the 3 line looks pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's kind of looking like that these seed lines are really starting to solidify. Like if you kind of look at the average there in that
Yeah, the
second to
weight.
last column, there's not a whole lot of variance there. Like Iowa State is literally a 3.0 of their average seed, which means that all 57 of those brackets have
Has them
Iowa
at a
State
3.
as a 3 seed. And you can kind of see that, look at Michigan State at 2.02, Illinois at 2.04. So there's just not a whole lot of variance. So I think it seems like that these numbers are really starting to set in stone. Well, I think the only thing to look at is that it seems like that maybe Florida and UConn might mess around for that last number 1 spot. But yeah, for both the Cyclones and the Huskers, it seems like they're really settling into that number 3 spot. There's not really a whole lot that they could do to go up. Maybe not even a whole lot they could do to go down. It just seems like
Right.
really those numbers are solidifying where you see them right now.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think these numbers are pretty solid. Now to preface this for you, Iowa State is a 3.0 across the board there, like you said. Someone has them as a 4. There's another bracket that had them as a 2 at the time that I took this. Everything else across the line, everything across the line was a 3 outside of that. And the Huskers were pretty much the same way. I think there might have been 1 or 2 brackets that had them as maybe a 4. But in no world do I see them as a 4 seed. Now, I will say with Michigan State's loss to Michigan tonight, right before we came on air, that number for Iowa State has slowly started to tick down. So they have started to, as people kind of update their brackets, that loss that Michigan State suffered today, it looks like it could potentially maybe make it interesting there for that last 2 seed coming into a conference tournament week. So I guess that would be something to maybe keep an eye on. But yeah, I agree with both of you. I think they're both pretty much set in stone as a 3. I would probably typically tend to agree with both of those for both teams. They've had their moments where they've been on point this year, and then they've had their moments where they've both kind of shown that they weren't quite ready. What we are going to do here real quick is we're going to bring in Hybrid to kind of react right away and kind of get his intake on the Nebraska game tonight. As Nebraska won 85-74 in overtime.
What's up, Hybrid?
Damn, overtime. What's up? How are you guys
Not
doing
too
tonight?
bad.
Pretty good.
We were just waiting on you, buddy.
Well, I was at a show. I was not watching the game. I'm glad Nebraska won in overtime. But yeah.
Do you want to give a shout out to who the show was for real quick while I try to figure out why my mouse not working?
It was a nice enough show. We had our artist Ash from the Past perform. She did amazing. It was a pretty good show. It was a pretty good turnout for a Sunday night.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, JT, I know you wanted to get in. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Biggs. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're all right. I was actually supposed to be at that show tonight as well. So Hybrid, thanks a lot for handling things for us.
Gotcha. Always.
While I was ready for the show tonight,
Yes,
promptly
sir.
at 8. So
I apologize for being late.
Hey, no worries.
oh,
no worries.
problem.
No worries, big dog. Well, JT, I know you wanted to get into kind of Arch Madness with
Yeah.
you and I taking over here. I'll let you go ahead and kind of take the reins here on this and kind of give us a recap of the week. I know normally you're there, but this year you guys made the decision not to go. Unfortunately, kind of ends a really great run you had going.
Yeah, it was one of those things where we just kind of, when your team has lost 9 straight games, it's kind of tough to sum up the desire to go to down to see him in the conference tournament. But I mean, nonetheless, it was really cool to see Drake pull off a little bit of a run there. Obviously, they won their first game against Southern Illinois, and then of course the day after the game that kind of made the national headlines is that Drake, as the 9 seed in the tournament, knocked off the number 1 seed Belmont Bruins and kind of ruined their Cinderella season potential. And then unfortunately, they just kind of ran out of gas there against UIC in the semifinals. So Drake is still it's not quite it sucks to see that three-peat end. They're not going to win a 4th straight Arch Madness, but it is their 8th straight Arch Madness where they at least reach the semifinals. So it's nice to see that going. And obviously it's been a really tough season for the Dogs, but I think this puts a little bit icing on the cake and just a little bit to look forward to next year. I know that team had been through some lows, and hopefully it just gives them something to look forward to. They got a little bit of a taste of it, and hopefully it makes them all that hungrier to come back next year.
Yeah, I guess since we're talking about him, I'll stay on the topic real quick. What's your feeling going into next year as far as who's returning for the Bulldogs and what they potentially have coming back, or who do you think is at risk? I guess now we have to call it being poached by a bigger school, but I mean that's essentially what it is.
Yeah, and the one thing about when you're not very good is that teams aren't very interested in your players, and so hopefully that's the
true.
case. Because I mean, while they obviously didn't play very well, I still think there's a lot of potential on the roster. Really, the issue with Drake is that the seniors weren't carrying their weight, or either in the locker room or on the court. It just seems like that Henderson kind of swung and missed when it came to bringing those 1-year guys in. I still think there's a lot of potential there on the rest of the roster. Just got to be a more physical team. I thought they were pretty soft team all year. Got to bring in some bruisers, bring in some big wings that can get the job done. Otherwise, I'm overall I still have a really positive outlook. I think they have their point guard in Owen Larson. I think Oku Frederico didn't quite play well enough that he would get poached by anybody. So I don't see any poaching candidates at this point. There's maybe 2 or 3 guys that maybe we could lose, but ultimately I'm not too concerned, and just hope that it really just comes down to can't keep swinging and missing on your big portal acquisition, because that's just really what happened. A team like Drake doesn't have a whole lot of money to throw around, and they just didn't really hit on their 3 seniors that they brought in. And of course, you had Jalen Quinn, who had a really good season. He probably would have been the player of the year, a 4th straight player of the year, if Drake had been better. But we know how that kind of goes sometimes, where a really good player on a bad team isn't going to get the level of accolades that you would see otherwise. So, but there was maybe some questions about him not being the greatest team player, maybe some locker room issues there. So I think it's not probably
That's
good to see those
unfortunate.
2 go. Yeah, good to see those 2 guys go their separate ways. But yeah, I mean, and otherwise I can just kind of expand this out, kind of continue the conversation into Arch Madness. Obviously, you and I came out first team ever to win 4 straight games to win Arch Madness.
Incredible.
They were the plan. Yeah, it's pretty impressive to win 4 straight games. And really where I think we can parlay this conversation, and you and I were talking about this a little bit, is that I don't exactly know what the bracket matrix site has you and I, or if they have them up yet, but I'm kind of thinking that you and I might land as a 14 seed. So I think there's a really good chance that Iowa State or Nebraska could end up having to play the University of Northern Iowa, maybe in a place like St. Louis or Oklahoma City, when it comes to the NCAA tournament, which I think would be a tough draw for both of those teams, because I think even the most average college basketball fan knows the kind of Cinderella story behind UNI and Ben
Right.
Jacobson and kind of what that team has done before. But it's been a while, so it's been over 10 years, but it's still Ben Jacobson, and that guy knows how to coach.
So the latest projections I had seen had them as a 12 and a 13, sneaking into brackets as they were being updated. I'm sure that number is probably going to change, as more teams automatically qualify, or most of those major programs don't fall below an 11. I guess we'll go ahead and bring in Uncle Juice here real quick. I was gonna try and parlay into him, but
sorry, I just know Spencer wanted out, so
I know Spence went ahead and swapped himself
that was
out
me.
there. That was you. Well, we appreciate you, JT, helping out here with the a little bit of the production. Uncle Juice, welcome to the program. Welcome to the show.
What's up, Uncle Juice?
What's happening, y'all? How's it going, fellas?
Let's get an instant reaction from you here on the UNI Panthers with the official kind of upset team here to make the tourney early here in March Madness.
It's a beautiful thing. I mean, living here in Iowa, they get a lot of respect here that they don't get on the grand stage. I know that team works really hard, and I was listening in on you guys backstage, and I agree with JT. It's very hard to get NIL people to come in there. So the ones that they get, they gotta swing and hit. But I mean, they have a really good program, and it's beautiful to see a team from Iowa in the bubble. But we all know how Cinderella goes. At some point, it's got to turn into midnight.
Yeah, so I guess I would just say, kind of throwing it out to, I mean, obviously I'm an Iowa State fan, but to the other Iowa State fan and the Nebraska fans here, what's kind of your opinion at the potential of having to play this pretty tough UNI team in the first round?
Thanks.
You can't underestimate anybody in the tournament. Like, they got to the tournament for a reason. I mean, seeding is one thing, but everybody works hard to get to this tournament. So I feel like anybody who's here, they deserve to be here. So you can't underestimate them. We don't play the game on paper.
Yeah, we don't want to play ahead or thinking, oh yeah, we got this opponent. Let's just practice and get ready for the next game. No, every game is a situation. So it's important that we go out there and play our best game, no matter who we play.
Josh, what do you think?
I'd be really curious to see where they end up. Podcast I was listening to today was kind of talking about how they're kind of getting away with non-regional bias just because there is a very decent sized shortage in charter flights available across the U.S. right now. So they're concerned about being able to charter flights for teams that, would typically not be allowed to play in the same region, have to be sent all the way across the country. They're trying to get teams as close to the region closest to them with the smallest amount of travel expense this year. So I think with that being introduced, you could easily see Iowa, Nebraska, Iowa State, and UNI all in the same little clutter pod. And depending on how it turns out, if you're an Iowa State team or even a Nebraska team, basically, or depending on where those seed lines fall to, you might have a first round of UNI, a second round of Iowa, and a third round of either Iowa State and Nebraska there in the Sweet 16 to go to the Elite Eight, which I think would be the most unfair and cruelest thing you could do in recent human history, as far as it goes with the college sports world, because that's just not fair for anybody.
If we get into a situation like that, then you'll have people like, well, they had the easy road and they didn't have to compete against anybody to get there. Like, it's weird that they only do the tournament geographically when it has something to do with money, but there's more money flowing through college sports than ever before.
Yeah, well,
I was just gonna say, I pulled up that bracket matrix site, and it looks like their composite rating is actually a little bit higher than I thought. They have Northern Iowa as the number 13 seed, kind of on the fringe of being a 12 seed. So I guess if that's the case, then Iowa, Iowa State, and Nebraska might be able to dodge UNI for a little bit. Just to kind of rattle off the 14 seeds that they do have are Hawaii, North Dakota State, Troy, and East Tennessee State. So still a couple tough teams in there, but I'm sure that Fred Hoiberg and TJ Osselberg would love to not see Northern Iowa in the first round, because they know firsthand what that team can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anybody else got anything they want to add on to that before we go to move on to kind of this next team here that is somehow shockingly a bubble team right now?
Well, I'd like
the
to
only thing
mention something else about Drake, if you guys don't mind.
All right.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
for it.
I would like to see them tighten up their defense heading into next season, and also get some rebounding, like JT said.
Yeah.
If you guys are gonna, you guys have this storied run over the last couple of years. I think it's very, very important that they get back to the basics, get back to defense, get back to cleaning up the boards. Your boy's gonna be all right.
Yeah, so they are very poor in those two areas, and that just comes back to it's just the guys that they brought in they're just very, very wimpy guys, not very physical. So you got to get some dogs back on the Bulldogs. So I couldn't agree more. That's exactly what was missing for that team. Anybody that saw that game against UIC, they were just climbing all over those guys and jumping for offensive rebounds, just because Drake just did not have the physicality and the strength to get the job done. So yeah, if you want to have a run like we've had in the past, just gotta have some physicality.
Yeah,
People don't realize how important offensive rebounds really are. That second chance point, the chance to get a whole new possession, a whole new 24. And a lot of times they try and rush it. Like, man, just slow it down a little bit, man. It's a long game. You got a long game to play. Set the pick, set the play back up. It is too much of a rush job. So yeah, man, you got to get big. Get you some Omaha steaks. Go out there and eat. Get bigger and get under them boards and do it like they used to do it back in the 90s.
For sure.
Yeah. I don't think this is the last time we'll hear from Drake. I know I have a lot of faith in their head coach and their athletic director. I think he's probably one of the best in the country. So I look forward to Drake being back, bouncing back after kind of a tumultuous year after having to replace a head coach twice in damn near 360 days. Well, technically two head coaches within 670 days. So, I mean, that's hard for anybody to do.
Yeah, it's hard. You're not gonna. I mean, for a team like Drake, you're not gonna keep catching lightning in a bottle. It was kind of bound to happen. Kind of come back down to earth and have a little bit of a rebuilding year. But yeah, I've got confidence in everybody there, and hopefully they can learn from their mistakes, and we'll see what happens when they roll out next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the good news is even if they do go 31-0. They have a good chance of still being a bubble team, as Miami of Ohio is still somehow in the picture with teams like 16 and 14 Auburn for who deserves a tournament spot more if they were to lose a game.
It's weird. It's
I think,
strength of schedule doesn't matter in college basketball. Like, if you just keep winning, we'll put you in the tournament. Who has Miami, Ohio played of note to be asking for a bigger seed or a top seed in the tournament? Like, even the dude in the picture looks like he shouldn't be 31-0.
Juice, I do have a good, interesting stat for you here to kind of make you think a little bit. They are 90th right now in Ken Palm, 70th on offense, 139th on defense, but they are 11th in adjusted luck for teams. So they're the 11th luckiest team in college basketball. And there isn't really
the most diabolical of stats.
There isn't really a team in a major conference that is anywhere close to like the top 60 or 70 on that list. So
I didn't even know luck was a percentage. Like, how do you give a percentage on luck? That's insane.
If I remember correctly, it's based off of like jump balls, possession arrows. Yeah, like a bunch of random this person dribbled out of bounds at this point or dribbled off of his foot, or like if you hit a late game shot, like those are weighted a little differently than like a regular game shot. And I know they've had at least 3 or 4 buzzer beaters this year as a team. So I mean that definitely probably plays a role.
There's somebody getting rich off of like player props with this team. I promise you. Oh, the coin flip is gonna be tails. Boom. All right, man. We off to a good start. Like, I don't know, man. Like those stats are so egregious. Like you would think they would have lost like 12 games by now. But I mean, it's March. Maybe they got the luck of the Irish. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stranger
Yeah.
things have happened in Miami, Ohio, coming in the tournament undefeated. But I think once they get into the tournament, like it is what it is. Soon as you get up against a Duke or a Kentucky or Arizona, like you're gonna get mollywopped. Those stats are gonna come into play in the tournament. I promise you. Everything except for the luck thing.
So it's like
Yeah, and
you are who we thought you were. We're letting you off the hook type of deal.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like when they lose, is anybody in here gonna be surprised?
no.
No,
No.
not at
Nope.
all. It's
Yeah,
like
and I don't know.
peanut butter
31 and
on
0.
jelly.
That's. I mean, they are a D1 team. They're playing other D1 schools. I mean, yeah, they're just in a terrible conference. So I don't know. They say if they lose in the conference championship, like they may not even make it.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's the whole argument. What kind of people are debating, and I think that the MAC tournament starts here on Thursday, I believe, and so really Miami, Ohio can only lose one game, but will that one game be enough to keep them out? I'm inclined to still see them in the tournament, but I realize that's just kind of more thinking with my heart and not my brain. Like Josh pointed those stats out, it just seems like when a team if a team's well, if they're 33-1, that they should make the tournament. But context is important. If you look last year, Drake was 30-3. If they had lost
Yeah.
that conference championship game, they would have been 29-4, and it looked like they probably would have been left out of the tournament. So I think this
It
Drake
should be highly
last year's Drake
unfortunate.
team is a lot better than this
Yeah.
team. So yeah, it's one of those things where my heart says that they should be in the tournament, but like you said, those numbers never lie, and if they do lose, there's probably a pretty good case to leave them out in the cold.
Like it's a cold world, no blankets, man. And we all know how this tournament goes. You're gonna get pressed by your record and how many people are gonna come to your games. And if they lose one
Yeah, that's a good
game,
point.
the whole bubble bursts. Like, why you think Notre Dame always sneaks into conversations like this? Like, it's the fan base, and I don't see Miami, Ohio having a fan base since Ben Roethlisberger left. How long ago was that?
That was quite
Like,
some time.
exactly. So
That was
I don't
quite
think
some time.
I don't think they've got like an NIL surplus or this is a team that's going to be back here next year. Like, it's an anomaly. Like, these things happen.
Yeah, Bix, you want the final word on this here?
Yeah, I got to go back to the 31 and 0, man. They did play a lot of D1 teams in this 31 and 0.
This is
I'm
true.
sure a lot of these teams are worth two nickels in any sort of
Yeah.
kind of currency, but 31 and 0 is something special. So shout out to those guys for going 31 and 0. You better go 33 and 0 because your whole season's on the line if you lose.
Yeah, we can't treat these guys like we did the Patriots, man. We got to have a little bit of respect for them.
That's why I said, 31 and 0 is a huge feat. Like that's not easy to do.
And I
They
guess
played
the
a
one
lot of
thing
D1 teams.
the one thing
Correct.
I'll sneak in here at the end is that, and it's not a unique problem to Miami, Ohio, but I don't know if you guys saw, there was an article that got put out there. Somebody did a freedom of information request on basically the emails of the Miami coaching staff, and kind of released all these emails of them trying to schedule high major teams
Yes,
and
I did
power
see that.
conference teams, and all these teams are turning them down, which is not a unique. I know that when Drake was good, we had to deal with it. So certainly it was a situation where pretty much any mid-major team that's kind of a Cinderella, you would like for them to have their signature non-conference win. Miami doesn't really have one, obviously, but it gets to that thing where you can clearly see they were trying to schedule teams, but nobody wanted to play them. So I don't know. It's a tough thing. It's where I wish the NCAA could step in and get involved with scheduling a little bit more, because obviously the fact of the matter is that if Miami did schedule some tougher teams, they probably would have lost, and we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Bring back the
Well, do
bracket
you
busters.
do you
Yeah,
think the
that's true.
scheduling thing is based on a traveling situation? Like these teams have to pay for them to travel there to play them, and that's what's stifling the situation? Or do you think it's just a strictly competition situation where we're better than you and we're not gonna waste our time playing?
I think it has to do more with the net. A
Yeah,
lot of
it
teams
comes
don't
down
like
to
to
the
play
to the
certain
metrics.
opponents because of their net. So and that's kind of what you're seeing in Iowa with Iowa and Iowa State not playing UNI and Drake, is if a 5-point win against Drake, it doesn't do anything for Iowa State or Iowa in the metrics by any means, even though, yeah, the fans would appreciate that, just being able to see a game like that. But in the long term, like that 5-point win for if Iowa State were to go to, God forbid, they would go to Drake. Remember, JT, they used to go play Drake every year there, or every other year at the Knapp Center
It was
for a
fun.
while. Yeah, there's no incentive for him to play those games anymore, other than it's only going to hurt your stock at the end of the year, because we're going to get in conversations like this where you're 31-0 and you didn't play anybody all year, or your metrics aren't great.
Yeah, and I think Otzelberg has actually been pretty upfront about it, which I actually appreciate.
Mhm.
He just says that it's not worth it. It makes instead of beating Drake by 5, it makes more sense to beat Grambling State by 40 or to beat Alabama State by 50.
Exactly what he said.
And so
Yeah, because that
that's just what
Grambling
it
game
does.
was ridiculous by Iowa State. Y'all was out
Yeah.
there doing Harlem Globetrotter stuff that day. Like y'all
Yeah.
looked like
It's a-
y'all
it's
was
a
the
lose-lose.
Showtime Lakers for like 14 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was crazy. Throwing alley oops, weird steals, crazy dribbles. Like this is
Momchilovich double step back,
y'all took it there.
fadeaway threes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
y'all took it there for real.
So yeah, it's one of those
Some
things where
grade A level hot dogging, man. That's just top level hot dogging. And sometimes
Yeah.
you got to do that, man. Like if we coasting, we coasting, bro. This is second quarter and we got like 35 points on you. Yeah, I'm throwing an alley oop to myself too, bro. I'm trying to get on Sports Center like everybody else.
Yeah, so maybe it's a situation where I guess I said that the NCAA needs to step in with scheduling. Maybe
Yeah.
the NCAA needs to revamp their metrics so it's more beneficial to have a competitive game.
Well, the unfortunate thing is that the metrics that they now follow have been created outside of the sport. Like, it wasn't like KenPom isn't something that the NCAA instilled itself. It was something some guy made. And like that stat, like year in, year out, like is, I guess the one thing you can say to defend it is it's very consistent on predicting, the outcomes of who's likely going to be there at the end of the year. And you could easily say that right now with Duke, Arizona, and Michigan kind of clearly pulling away from the field here at this point. I think if I was going to put any money on a national champion, it would be those three. And they have really great metrics, but they played a lot of really good teams throughout the year. And excuse me, you're seeing that with kind of like the top 15 to 20. Like you can tell who's the pretender. And like you said, Juice, like with those metrics, like you can kind of tell once you get to middle of March who's gonna have something left in the tank to give, or who's gonna be a no-show.
Y'all gonna make me say the R word on here today, aren't you? Realignment, man. Realignment, bro. I need realignment in everything. Every sport, everything just needs to be realigned, man.
Yeah.
Some people got it way too easy. Some people got it way too difficult. We got to have some realignment. Realignment is good because it'll lead to parity and that'll lead to things evening out. We got too many situations where somebody's undefeated and ain't played nobody, and we got to figure out where to put them.
Yeah.
You're right, Josh. Bring back bracket busters.
Yeah. Regional realignment. Yeah. And then a bracket buster, some random week in the middle of February. It doesn't matter what conference you play for or who you are. Like, we're going to throw your name into a damn hat, and whoever you draw is who you draw. Like, we'll weight it, obviously. So like Duke's not going to go play like Murray State or something. Like, you can wait it out. So like there's a fair way to do it, but who's going to say no to a Duke Iowa State game in the middle of February, or a Nebraska and like a St. John's, or a Nebraska and Connecticut? And the
Who's
thing
not
is,
going to pay to see it? Who's not going to pay to watch it?
Well, and the thing that makes it even more exciting is you don't know who the opponent is All you know is that, like, so what I guess the most ideal way to make it work is you would flip flop every year. Like you would play for sure at home for this bracket buster game one year, and then the next year you'd play on the road. So then that way you're always like, then you're not having to worry about who's going to buy the tickets if it comes up too late. Like it's still a home game. Depending on how good your team is, you know, you can kind of build out that way, and then I would say probably announce it 2 weeks beforehand. So then that way it still gives like the opposing fans a chance to go out and, you know, maybe put off like a couple thousand tickets for like opposing fans or something just to kind of even it out. But I mean, I don't know who says no to a proposition like that, especially at this point when you're trying to revamp the sport itself.
Well, it's all
Yeah.
about money, and that sounds like something that'll make a lot of money. So we run that up the flagpole, that might come out in the next 2-3 years.
Yeah, I think the thing that probably caused it to go away back in the day is that obviously Bracket Busters was a mid-major thing, and it
Right.
really just led to the mid-majors cannibalizing themselves. I
Yep.
mean, it allowed the cream to rise to the top,
Yeah, it
but
really
I think
did.
that's really what, because obviously, you know, you look at obviously one of the best bracket buster games of all time was the Drake Butler game. And obviously it
Yep.
just puts you in a situation where you have a lot to gain, but you do have a lot to lose. And I believe that's probably why it exited. But I think it's kind of what you're saying. I don't know if you're meaning to say this, but not just make it mid-major and then have
No, everybody.
basically all teams. I think that's an interesting
Everybody.
twist on it that could alleviate that concern.
Yeah, I mean, it would essentially be kind of like what their little conference challenges they used to do here a couple years ago that they went away with just because I don't know
Yeah.
what didn't work with that. But I think if you just throw everyone's name into a pot and you kind of get matched up to someone, you know, that's within your realm, and then it's kind of like it'd be like a pre you know, March Madness game essentially. Kind of let you really
Like
figure out
JT
where you
said.
stand.
It's like JT said, you know, it made the cream rise to the top. You know, everybody's out here working hard. Everybody works all year for a championship, and sometimes, man, it's Ronda Rousey, man. It's a tough titty to swallow. You got to get out there on the court and you got to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Bex, did you have anything you wanted to add here to the to what they got going on?
Yeah, no, I kind of like the idea of doing like the whole mix up thing, like put 3-tier teams against other 3-tier teams that are on the rise, and 4-tier, 5-tier teams. Yeah, mix it up.
You know, yeah, the interesting thing is kind of using this to parlay into the next topic here is I don't know if which of you guys have seen it, but I did peek at something the other day that said that they're looking at realigning the college football bowl season to potentially maybe 10 bowl games or something like that, and they're going to scrap like all of the extra other stuff, and they're just going to kind of focus more on the playoffs. I don't have a lot of information on it, so I was just curious if you guys seen that, and then yeah, if you haven't seen that, then we can go ahead and move on. But it's just something that I'm
Yeah,
kind
no,
of looking out
I have
for.
not seen that, but I think that's very, very tragic though. There's going to be a lot of teams not being able to play in the postseason due to not being able to make the college football playoff, you know, and there's only going to be 10 bowl games. There's a lot of football teams in the NCAA.
Yeah,
And
we got
most
137 teams, bro. Like them,
yeah.
they need something to go up again. If you're ranked 137 out of them 137 teams, what is your motivation to try and be number one in the nation ever? Like you need something to play for to give you a reason to motivate you to want to come back and do better the next year. One of the best things to me in college football is when the team just misses the playoffs or is just outside of the playoffs or loses in the first round of the playoffs, then comes back the next year harder, recruits harder, and comes back as a better team and goes further. Like you have no motivation to do that if it's only 10 teams that get to play out of 137. And there's more teams being added all the time. It's probably 138 now because we
I
got
think you're right.
Sacramento State coming.
Yep.
Yeah, we got Sacramento State coming. So it's just going to get bigger and bigger, but you're making the reward smaller and smaller.
What do you guys think about moving bowl games from the previous year to the following season as like the week 1 or the week 0, whatever you want to call it? So rather than they don't get to pick their first game of the season, so essentially you'd push it to the next year, and then that way if you could still play your 13 games, like if you made a bowl game, you'd play week 0, and then like the rest of everyone else would start. So then like that would give you an extra chance, to maybe go 13-0 or 12-0. And
It's
then
definitely it's
and
definitely
then
something to think about. I mean,
and then to
week
make it more
zero games are
meaningful.
always week zero games are always like really, really important or not important at all. So to make a week zero game a bowl game, that might be a way to, find a happy medium in between both situations.
I think that'd be really messy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it could get really
That's
messy. I
that's too
I think
messy.
I think the only way it would work is if you were to if you would announce them at the end of the year, and then that way it would give fans time once again to kind of figure out their travel plans, and then it would be like the kickoff to the new season would be your bowl opponent that you would have played last year, and it would. I think that would be the only way to make it work at a neutral site. Otherwise, someone would have to host.
I think maybe they should push the bowl games up, because there's always that giant window in between of when you won your championship game and when you play the actual championship. I think there's like 30 days in between the conference championship or whatever and the actual national championship. That's way too long of a time to have a layoff from playing football. And we see that a lot of times. Like I've seen games where I feel like the other team got jumped on because they had 3 weeks off.
Or opt outs.
And that was my biggest thing with Notre Dame this year. Like you opt out of your bowl game, you got seniors on that team, man. They didn't know that was going to be their last game when they played. That's unfair to them.
Yeah, JT, do you have
Yes, sir.
anything? JT, you want to add
No,
on to that?
nothing
Or?
wrong with that.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and pull myself out of here real quick so we can get Hybrid himself on here to kind of break it up, and then we will jump right back into this up.
All right.
Man,
Cups a
Houdini
lot.
out of here, boy.
Yo, yo, yo. What's up, boys?
Abracadabra. What's up? What's
What's
up,
up?
hybrid?
Not much. How you doing, Juice? Nice seeing
Oh
you.
man, I'm chilling.
Yes, sir.
Chilling, man. My godson birthday today. He turned 4. That's always a nice little
Nice.
accomplishment.
I hope it was a
Happy
good
birthday.
day. Yeah, definitely. Well, I gotta say, but like I always say before I start, you guys are doing amazing as always. I'm here to do some music promotion, and I'm gonna talk about Glizzy Fest, which is April 17th through the 19th. We have pretty much our whole team's gonna be there. Day one, we have Justin Pickett and we have Ash from the Past performing, and day 2 we have Crooks, Austin Believe, and then we have a superset by Hybrid Promotions, OTT Records, and Self Made Label, with a special guest appearance as well. We have tickets. They are, believe they're $15.
15 bucks.
$15. If you don't get them pre-sale, I think they're 20. There's also weekend passes available. We can hook you up. Just send us a message, and we can shoot you in the right direction. But other than that, no, we got tickets, and we are ready to put on a good show. So yeah, I want to shout out to Nice Enough Entertainment for the plug. He's one of our partners and good friends we work with here in Omaha. So
Yep. And we what was that show you went to earlier today?
oh yes, it was in the In Your House tour. It was
In your house tour?
yes, it was the tour was ATM, Blade, and then Dakota Faye teamed up with them because he was going to be in town at the same time. So it was kind of like 2 shows in one.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, shout out to Nice Enough Entertainment. Shout out to Justin Strawstone.
definitely. Yeah. But no, other than that, we have shows in after Glizzy Fest. Me and my brother Be Positive are opening for Struggle Jennings at the Waiting Room Lounge in Omaha. That is Waylon Jennings' grandson, if you know who Waylon Jennings is. We have tickets for that as well. So yeah, we have some dope stuff coming up. Yeah.
Shout out to the waiting room, man. I love that place.
Right. It is such a vibe. Yeah, such a vibe. It's really dope working there. Definitely. But yeah, other than that, I just want to shout out Hybrid Promotions, Self-Made the Music. We have our website. We still have merch up at selfmadethelabelhybrid.com. I think, is there still a code for half off or anything?
10% off if you use code JT or use the code SLIM.
Okay. Yep. Just like Vic said, that's the code. So shop with us.
Get your tickets, get your merch.
Right.
Get your merch.
But
Get your merch.
other than that, I think that's all we got coming up that we should talk about right now, music wise. So
We look like the
Yeah.
Power Rangers right now.
I know, right?
I didn't know we could do 5.
Mastodon.
I'm like the Purple
Hey,
Ranger and
Tiger.
shit. I'm ready to get down with
Yeah, Red Ranger.
Clearly the
I'm
Black
Blue.
Ranger.
We got 2 Blue Rangers. We got to fight, bro.
Blue Ranger Death Fight.
No,
Right.
you're the light Blue Ranger.
Okay. Yeah. But other than that, yeah. No, I'm
No.
gonna get out of here. I'm going to finish my night. Got to be up early. I'm gonna watch you guys do your thing. So shout out you guys, JT, Uncle Juice, Young Bakes, Slim. You guys are doing your thing. I'm proud of you.
Appreciate it,
All
man.
right,
Hey,
thanks,
appreciate
sir.
you, brother.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you stopping in.
Peace.
So yeah, shout out to all the sponsors. Shout out to Hybrid. Shout out to Selfmade OTTT. I always do that too. I always hit
That's a
the
lot of T's, man.
yeah. I know. I always hit the always hit the extra T there. Yeah, but shout out to those guys. Shout out to Strawstone. Shout out to Nice Enough. Kind of jumping back into this here. We got a couple more topics we want to hit before the end of the night. Bakes, I know that you were really kind of curious about this interjection here. I almost said it again live on air. I know, but you were really curious about this, and since we were already kind of talking about college football there with the potential bowl game situation, I figured we could start here before we bring it home with the last one.
Yeah, a Mississippi judge granted Ole Miss quarterback an extra season, and now the NCAA is stepping in and trying to reverse that. Really, Uncle Drizzy, I just kind of wanted to get your personal take on this. Does the man deserve to have a bonus season, or is this clearly just the boosters just paying whoever they can to make sure this goes through?
This is so vociferous on so many levels. Like haters gotta hate, and that's the real reason y'all not letting this dude on the field. If he was good enough to go to the draft and you want him to go to the draft, just say that you're trying to force him to go to the draft. He's got a medical reason for why he wants to stay. You got kids in college right now who stay in 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 years anyway. So I don't see why this particular person is not allowed to go back to college football if you haven't deemed him good enough to be an NFL quarterback. I've heard nobody talking about him in top 10 or first round caliber. The original judge didn't let him come back to college football just simply because he wasn't a fan of the team. I get it. I don't like Iowa and I don't like the Rams, but I don't hate on their players when they have accomplishments or they're trying to feed their families. There's a thing of not being a fan of the team, and then there's a thing of just being a hater. And every time I hear new news about this dude, somebody's just hating on his steez. He's not good enough to go play for the Jets, and nobody else wants to play for the Jets anyway, so I can't blame him. Let the boy come back to college, feed his family, and get a chance to go to the combine next year and make something of himself.
Most definitely. I agree with you to a certain point. He did get injured. Um, he was having a hell of a season. Um, it's just crazy that when you apply for medical red shirt, it has to be due to because of medical reasons. And if he missed games for like his most important season, his senior year, uh, I think it's important that you give this man a shot. And if the NCAA wins, then that whole dream is over for him. He'll be
Like,
in
what
the
does he do if
UFL.
they win? Yeah, he's gonna go to UFL or
He's gonna go to
CFL.
the draft. I mean, he's got like a second round grade, if not higher. So that's the only thing that I find strange is that it seems like he would be probably a top 5 quarterback in the draft, but I don't know. I mean, I guess it's the point where you're
Money
only gonna
talks.
have so many years in college, and
This
I
man
guess
will
you
be
know
a
at this
sixth round
point,
pick.
yeah. I
Let's
mean,
just be honest. Yes, he's going to be a 6th round pick. They didn't get no pro day. They didn't get no combine invite. So
he
he's
certainly
really
could if he
banking
doesn't have a good
on
season next
this
year.
extra year of eligibility. Like he was all in on it. So if the NCAA somehow is able to overturn this, I just feel sorry for the young man.
It's kind of a cash in deal for him, which I get. If you can get the money, you can get it. Like I'm not blaming him at all for that. But the NCAA, I think at this point is just trying to stop the bleeding a little bit from just kind of being taken through the ringer, which they've done to themselves. Like, don't get me
Correct.
wrong, I'm not siding with the NCAA on any of this, but at some point you got to at least try and fight back and stop the bleeding a little bit, because if we're seeing some stuff like this now come out, and like you said, Biggs, he did have that medical redshirt year or whatever, but if we're looking for a 6th or a 7th year, I mean, you're gonna have guys like Cam Ward that, I mean, I think he played 9 years almost in college. Like
Well, I have a question. Didn't the best player in the draft come out of college, and wasn't he about a 6 or 7 year senior himself? Stroud, that plays for the Saints. He's like 27, 28 years old.
Yeah, Sal, or however the hell you say his last name.
Stroud or something like that, I think it is. But yeah, he was the best quarterback in the draft this year, and he's like a 6 or 7 year senior. And people were saying if they redrafted, he would have been top 10. So with that being said, like the number on his chest is probably gonna be what round he ends up going to the Jets in. And that's all we're trying to do. Anybody on this panel, do you want to go to the Jets right now, the way they are
No,
currently constructed?
no, not at all.
If that's the answer, I can't be mad at these dudes for not wanting to get drafted to the Jets.
Do I have to play for the
The
Jets? Can I
only
just take the money?
well, the only problem
Yeah.
is you're trying to
That's why
avoid him
Arch
this
Manning
year.
isn't in the draft. That's why Arch
You're
Manning
gonna
isn't in the draft.
you're gonna
That's why
avoid him
Moore
this
isn't
year,
in the draft from Oregon. Like, because they don't want to
but
go to the Jets.
they're gonna have the same pick in the draft next year, if not better.
hmm
So you're not gonna avoid the Jets. Just go to the
Yeah,
Jets, man.
it's
It
purgatory.
worked out for Sam.
Yeah, 7 years
Worked.
later.
He went to the
That's harsh.
Panthers too, man. You went to 2 developmental teams in the NFL. The Panthers
Yeah, look,
became a real team again last year.
yeah, and the Panthers had Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold at one point on the same team.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Life comes at you fast. But look at them now. Now Bryce Young looks like he knows how to play football again. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of shape up coming into next year.
it's crazy because I think the Panthers will do good, but if in that division, how hard is that to be good in that division? That division is cheap, straight toilet water. Like nobody wins the division 2 years in a row, and the whole division sucks. It's a very weird stat.
Yeah, 8-8's not a very good record, but we've seen it. We've seen it before in the past. One of those conferences we'd seen that before in the past. They're looking for another quarterback. Bakes, this is the other thing you wanted to touch on here. Do you think Kyler Murray should take a baseball contract and maybe sign for a potential $50 million to play the outfield, or do you think he should stay in the NFL and try and collect a backup bag, or do you see him as a starter somewhere? I guess.
Well, I look at it like this: he's getting cut on Monday, no matter what the situation is.
Yes.
So when that happens, I mean, the boy's got options, and that's what you want as an adult. When you're a multi-sport athlete, at heart, this is a strong possibility that he can go play for the Athletics. They still own his draft rights. He was drafted, what was it, the first round, 9th pick by the
Yes.
Athletics. So obviously they believed in him that day. So they publicly stated that they would love to have him, and that is an option for him, and they look forward to it if it opportunity presents itself. So, but I really only wanted to talk about this because I wanted to hear what Uncle Juice had to say.
Oh, everybody wants to hear what I have to say on this one. Let me start off by saying I'm gonna try as hard as humanly possible to not bash Kyler Murray because he is a wonderful athlete to be drafted in football and baseball. That's not something that happens, and specifically in the first round of both,
And,
that
both,
is
yes.
that is a
Yeah.
hell of an
Yeah.
accomplishment.
Top
With
10
that
picks in
being
both.
said, he's a tiny, tiny man. He's like 5'9", and he hasn't swung a baseball in like 7 years, to my knowledge. So if his rights was owned to like the Royals or the Yankees or organization like that, I might think about it. But I'm gonna give Kyler Murray the same advice I once gave Zion Williamson. I once wanted Zion Williamson to break in LeBron James' home and just live with this man for 2 years of his life and just watch everything he does. So Kyler, I want you to get on the phone and I want you to call the New York Giants and ask to talk to Russell Wilson. He's probably still got an office there. And I want you to ask him what it feels like to sit at home and get paid, but then go back to work and get more money. Because that's what you're going to do. This quarterback market is beyond trash.
Yeah.
There's like a 58% chance that Kyler Murray is the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers next year or the Vikings, specifically those two teams. There are other teams that might be in the mix, but like we got Mac Jones and we asking for a second round pick, and somebody is almost 100% gonna come with that second round pick because this quarterback class is it's beyond cheeks. So if I'm Kyler, I get cut on Monday and then I go sign me a new contract on Wednesday because the quarterback market is that bad. You're gonna get paid from Arizona and your new team. We call it the double dip. So go and get your chips ready, boy, because you about to eat all year. But don't go to the A's because the A's don't even have a stadium right now.
They don't even have a first name.
They're supposed
just
to be
called the
building a
Athletics.
stadium. They're supposed to be building them a stadium behind the strip in Las Vegas, like they did with
So
the Raiders.
they're tearing down the Tropicana, which is where I stayed the last time I was in Vegas. So they're tearing down that entire hotel in that kind of resort type deal, and they're building it on that corner because there's like a warehouse semi-trailer parking lot behind it as well. Like it's a pretty decent size of land, but I mean that hotel they tore down for that spot had been there for like 60 to 75 years. So I mean, we're just
I've been to Tropicana. It's nice, but I mean,
Bro.
that's just gonna make traffic even worse in Vegas, bro.
Well, you've been to Vegas, and you know how hot it gets down there in the middle of the goddamn summer. Do you think someone's gonna go sit at a fucking baseball stadium and cook in the goddamn desert? Like,
Yes,
no,
there will be old white men there. Yes,
no, thank you.
that's why Arizona is a whole state. Like there will be somebody old there that loves baseball with a towel on their head watching that shit in the sun. As crazy as that sounds,
It just sucks they take him out of.
it won't be a lot of
He
them.
wants the team, and you're
Well,
seeing
I
it with
mean,
the Bears.
that's-
I think the Bears are moving to
Moving to
pretty sure
Indiana.
they're moving to Indiana.
But you gotta pay to play, man. Like, how many teams does the city of Chicago have? I would not want to be the
One
mayor
less.
that loses the Chicago Bears on my watch. And it's literally between the mayor and the people there. They could get this thing figured out, but now Indiana just stepped in the way. And let's pause this Indiana thing like they're moving to another state. It's the equivalent from going from downtown Omaha to downtown Council Bluffs. They literally basically just moving up the street.
Yeah, you're not wrong in that. Or moving from like over to Council Bluffs out to like the Gretna area.
Yeah, like just buy more Indiana.
Like moving from Altoona to like Waukee or some bullshit like that.
Right, but there's still an optics thing about it of
Yeah,
it's the Chicago
absolutely.
Bears
And
are
then,
technically not in Chicago.
Well, it'd be like if
But-
It'd be like if the Kansas City Chiefs moved from Missouri to actual Kansas. Like, yeah, they
Well,
could still be the Kansas
that's what
City.
that's what they're doing.
Oh, is that
We
really
could-
what
we
they're
could-
doing? Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
that is what they're
Here we
doing.
go.
We could do this with so many teams. Like the Chargers play in Inglewood, the Rams play in Inglewood, we play in Santa Clara. Like most of the teams, it's a name attached to it. They don't actually play where they're supposed to play at.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true, I guess.
Like Orchard Park is not really Buffalo, New York. It's close to it, but it's not really Buffalo. Like most of the teams don't play in the actual places where they're located to play at.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You could look, obviously the Jets and Giants play in New Jersey, the Commanders play in
Correct.
Landover, Maryland, Niners
That's
play
a
in
very
Santa
good point.
Clara. So
Yeah.
yeah,
The
it's
Jets and
still,
Giants is the worst. You got to catch a
Yeah.
whole train to go to see the Jets and the Giants. That doesn't seem fair to the people in New
Yeah,
York.
and
in
then-
the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and then it's a death. Yeah, I was gonna say, then it's a death parking lot in the middle of fucking nowhere on like a swampland or like an old
Yeah.
trash pile or whatever the hell they built that stadium on. And then when you see it, I don't think the pictures really do it justice of how like dystopian it is when you like look at the stadium and you're like, I would expect this thing to be surrounded by like a bunch of tall high-rise buildings and all this other shit. And then you look at
No.
the pictures from it from outside. No, there isn't a building within maybe 20 miles of that place.
I've been there. You can get robbed very quickly in that area. There- there's nothing but hooligans in that area. They're not good, hardworking people walking around that area because there's nothing for them to do there. That's why Kansas City is moving, because they're gonna build a whole complex where movie theaters and shops and shows and stuff like that, because they want the city of Missouri to pay for the Chiefs' new stadium. How much money have y'all both made from one another? It's
That's what
just
I'm
simply
saying. You know,
greed.
that's what I don't like about it is the greed that comes in from these franchises. Is you're going to build a $2 billion stadium, but you expect me, the taxpayer, to fund $1 billion of those dollars when your net worth alone went up almost $3 billion last year. Like,
Oh, and
that'd be
let's not forget, you're gonna get a sponsor to sponsor that stadium, and they're gonna
right?
give
So
you
you're not
money
even
for that
paying
too.
for it. Yeah. So now you're trying to make a revenue off of building a brand new stadium, which is supposed to, in optics, help like the entire city, but really the city's paying for it. And then not only that, you're going to tell me because it's a new stadium that ticket prices have to go up so we can pay for everything.
Correct. And, oh, we build
Well-
new jobs and new homes and da 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 da. And half
Man.
the time, most of that stuff doesn't even happen.
Nope. Bakes.
Very, very true. Very true. No, I agree with Uncle Juice 100%. A lot of smoke and mirrors when it comes to stadium proposals. The billionaires are always trying to get out of paying billions of dollars for things. They make tons of money hand over fist, very, very rapidly. TV deals, jersey sales,
Yep.
concessions, all that shit.
Yep.
You go to the fucking NFL game, you're buying a $22 little meal deal. You get 3 chicken strips and some cold
$24
fries.
beer.
And yeah, it's crazy. So
$200 ticket just to get in there.
Yeah, no shit. Juice, you weren't even here for the beginning of the show. I told a story about how I got kind of hosed yesterday.
Oh man, what happened?
I don't want to get back into it. You'll have to watch
The
it back.
stadium got you
I
down.
want to get back into it.
Oh man,
He went.
he's
He went
got
down.
trouble.
He went down to the game with some digital tickets that
Oh,
have
no.
been
that were
resold.
already sold. Yep, that happened to me at WrestleMania, bro.
At least 3 or 4
That happened to me.
times.
Did you
That
get your
happened to
money
me at
back?
WrestleMania. I was
Did you
at
get your money back?
WrestleMania. It was 100 degrees outside. Yeah, we got our money back, but this is the crazy thing.
Okay.
It was so many people that happened to. People in line started passing out from heat stroke. This was
Oh, hell
April,
no.
bro. That's how hot Texas is. This is April. People's passing out from heat stroke. You got like 60,000 people wearing Stone Cold Steve Austin t-shirts trying to figure out why their digital ticket don't work with no water in sight. People just passing out left and right, man. It was egregious. So I've been there, man. And it take a minute to get your money back on the tickets too.
Yeah,
man.
I figured it would.
They give you your money back, but you're gonna take a bad for it right now. But
I
you get
wasn't
your bread back.
really worried about the money. We were already there. It's 2.5 hours away from where we live, and I wanted to get into the game so I could represent our senior players. And the good news is I missed the entire ceremony. So not a Nair senior was honored, other than me standing at the ticket office.
You honored them in spirit, bro. Sometimes
Hey.
what you got to
Yeah.
do.
Well,
I got to my niece's game. I got to my niece's game the other day. It was like 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter on senior day. I had to work. All the seniors were on the bench. It was a barbecue chicken alert. And my cousin James like, put up 100. And I'm like, they're only gonna get 76 points. But that's how the family is. We just want to win. So I get it, bro. Like it sucks on senior day too, man, because you want to give them their flowers. That's a
Yep.
big accomplishment.
Yeah. Yeah. Regardless, it was still a great game, great day. Since this is the Sunday edition of the Friday Night Live, I figured we'd give a quick update here for tournament time before we get out of here tonight. North Dakota State is currently up 49-41. North Dakota just hit a big 3 to cut it to 8 with about 10 minutes to go in that game. We got 4 qualifiers so far. By the time we talk to you next week, we will have all 31 with High Point, UNI, Queens of Charlotte, and Tennessee State all qualifying so far. Queens of Charlotte, if you guys didn't know this, they this is their last year of existing as a college program. They will be combining with Elon next year. So they will no longer be existing. So this is their first and last tournament appearance as a school in their final season. Just want to give a quick little shout out to them for making it when it matters the most, I guess. You ain't got nothing else left to give, so you might as well give it all, huh?
That's
Put
a
it all on the
baller
floor.
ass name. What was that name again? That name sound baller as hell.
It's Queens University of Charlotte. So I think they're from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's where they build Charlotte Flair from. They build her from the Queen City. So that makes sense. That's actually pretty dope. Shout out to them, man. Hope they do good in the tournament.
Yeah, they're probably looking at it. I'm not really sure what their record is or anything like that, but they're probably looking at a 14 or a 15 seed, I would imagine.
Bro, give us a 30 for 30, man. I wanna see the Queen's last dance.
Shit. Well, you know what? I hope they don't see any of our teams in the first round, because that's the last thing I want to see is one of us ending up on a documentary for a team that is playing its first and last NCAA tournament game or first and second to last NCAA tournament game. That would be the ultimate nightmare.
Man, shit, as long as we don't lose, you good. You just don't want to be the team that loses in that documentary.
Correct.
Well, knowing our school's histories, there's a good chance we're going to be there.
Yeah, you got to go in on some Remember the Titans. We cannot lose. I guarantee it. You know, Denzel says that in every movie. He says, I guarantee it in every movie. I don't know how he
Denzel,
figured
most
that
definitely.
out.
Yeah, no, he does. He most definitely does. It's a brand name. I guarantee it.
JT, do you have anything you want to add before we get out of here tonight?
Nope, I'm ready to close her out.
Bakes.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to Friday Night Live Sunday edition for the month of March. We want to thank everybody who tuned in today. Make sure you guys comment. Make sure that you guys like, subscribe, continue watching us. We love to do the show every week. We're very, very passionate about sports. We're very, very passionate about our community. And once again, thanks for tuning in. Shout out to our sponsors, Hybrid Promotions, OTT Records, and Self-Made to Label Music.
Yeah, with that being said, this has been another episode of Friday Night Live. The March special, I guess, is what we'll call it, the Sunday series here for the next 4 weeks from the Self-Made Studios. Like Bake said, brought to you by Hybrid Promotions. I am Slim. It's always brought to you with JT, Young Bakes, Uncle Juice, shout out to Spencer Scholl Hybrid for popping in real quick tonight to hang out with us for a little bit. We will catch you guys next Sunday night, probably around 8 o'clock again. Maybe a little earlier.
Next Sunday is my birthday. I will not be on the show. I will be going out
there
with
you
my
go.
family. So I'll go ahead and let you guys know now. We're gonna do a little partying. So
A happy early birthday to Mr.
shout out
Young
to
Bakes
Birthday
then.
Bakes. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
Hey, we'll make sure we shout you out plenty of times next week. Maybe I'll get a soundboard so we can get some 808 horns in there for you.
And early
Most
happy
definitely.
birthday, my man.
Yeah,
We making that gray look good, don't we?
doing what we can, bro.
I know that's right. All right, for the Self-Made Sports Network, I'm Slim. Thanks for joining us tonight. We will catch you guys next week.